I mean, isn't life all about being happy? And that we find the things we're passionate about. And because of type 1 diabetes, I've found that passion.
Well, I was a sophomore year in high school and I was trying out for the basketball team. And, I started getting leg cramps a lot and got real thirsty all the time, couldn't quench my thirst. So I kind of knew what was going on because my brother and sister are both diabetic.
I was diagnosed about a day, I believe, before my birthday, in 2nd grade.
And I have to say, even with living with Mike and with everything we did, it still was overwhelming with your child. It's scary. I mean, it's real scary. And, there's such a family history with us. Mike, his sister, his brother, Kelly.
My biggest fear, though, was, oh gosh, I have to get shots in my butt. And now, 27 years later, that's the least of my worries. My biggest worries would be like, any of my children getting type 1 would be my biggest worry.
I mean, you ever been in a dialysis lab? You wouldn't want to be in there. I mean, it's not good. I went into cardiac arrest in '96. Still have, some ulcers on my feet. I had kidney failure. I started dialysis in 2001. And in 2002, I was lucky enough to have a pancreas and kidney transplant.
Well, we've seen some of the ravages it has caused Mike O'Connell. Before it became well known how to treat it.
As a daughter of someone with type 1, I think I've seen the worst of it. From, a transplant to a heart attack, and having the disease and seeing your father go through that, you wonder, when's this gonna happen to me?
I worked for the same company for almost 30 years, and I had to retire early because of diabetic retinopathy. I couldn't see small numbers anymore. I couldn't drive for 2 years. I was legally blind.
Right away, my mom was a champion for me and my dad, and I was thrown into all the Central Ohio Easter events to the diabetic camps. Every day is different, so you have to be really graceful, and you need to be an advocate for yourself.
Really, it's a hidden, silent disease, like high blood pressure is. It's a hidden, silent thing that you have to take care of.
There's a lesson out of every day we're given, and I think type 1 diabetes, it gives us a timeline on life, and it's a reminder to make sure we are living each day to the fullest. So while it will be hard, it's gonna be okay, and we got charities like JDRF advocating for us to get more solutions for treatment, a cure, and to prevent it in the first place. I am hopeful. I mean, absolutely hopeful. I mean, in the last 18 months, the advances in the closed loop system, there's inhalable insulin. It's exciting to think what's ahead.
Thankful for my family, the doctors, JDRF, and the support group that has helped me get this far. I mean, I've been on their backs pretty much. I'm lucky. 50 years ago that had this, 90% of them are no longer living. Well, I'm still living.
It's crazy that a nonprofit organization can feel like family. It's so exciting to give back for what it's done for me. We can make such a difference tonight. My quality of life has been better in the last 18 months, and the next 18 could be even better.
Good evening. Oops, hope it's here. I'm here tonight because I've been blessed and fortunate enough to have benefited from many of the medical advances funded by JDRF to resolve my complications associated with being a long-term diabetic. I mean, all those things they spoke about in the video, I've had and I've made it through. It's all been because of the funding and the advancements. Because of these and other advancements, more tools are available today to control blood sugars and prevent the complications that I incurred. All this great funding has also helped my daughter's life with type 1 diabetes be less difficult. I've been working with JDRF since Kelly was diagnosed. Now I'm thankful we've seen so many improvements in the last 3 decades. My family and I will be forever grateful to all of you who have generously donated this outstanding FundACure event. My wife and I have 11 wonderful grandkids. All those little kids on the couch, that's them, aged 2 to 8. And we can only hope that JDRF FundACure and continues to make life better. The ages of our 11 grandkids added together total 51 years. For those of you who were here last year, there's no way I'm going to do 51 push-ups. But I hope you remember that number later on in the program and think of our kids and your little ones when you hear it again tonight. With your continued dedication and generosity, we can do our best to make sure none of our grandchildren or yours will ever suffer from type 1 diabetes. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce my daughter, Kelly. Get my papers out of the way.
Let me find my spot. As I do, my husband broke my dad's #1 rule. Don't embarrass me, chugging a bottle of red wine. Okay.
That's the rule on vacation. We have a family vacation. #1 rule, don't embarrass me.
Here we go. How many presents does an 8-year-old get when she's diagnosed with diabetes the day before her birthday? A lot. Looking back on my earliest memories, they all begin in 2nd grade. No matter how hard I try, I can't recall much before then. It starts with my diagnosis. But as I drift from those memories on, I remember more of the hard than the happy. In the first few years, I had several seizures, a few at school, and many in my sleep. I remember writing my mom a letter in crayon and putting it in her bathroom drawer and saying, I don't want to try anymore. It isn't fair. I'm the only kid in the family with diabetes. I hate it and I don't want it. I can't see. When my mom found it, I was waiting for her to yell at me, but she surprised me instead. She pulled me aside, sat me down, and told me to never take life for granted. And that I was capable of overcoming this. I am capable, but it's a heavy burden. There are so many layers of type 1 that are invincible. There's no limp or mark to distinguish us. We often look perfectly healthy until you see the tubing from a pump poke out from our waistband or a white pod stick out on our arm. Then you wonder, what is that? Meanwhile, we wonder if we dosed enough insulin, if I should have eaten more food before walking my kids to school, if those 30 grams of carbohydrate are going to kick in at Tegan's soccer practice, or if I need to tell a stranger I need help. We wonder if this is the high that's going to tip the scales to a complication. It's not just nutrition and insulin. There are dozens of variables that affect our diabetes management. I can name at least 45 right now. As a dietitian, I help type 1 clients with what's on their plate, but far beyond. We need more options to manage this disease. Thankfully, JDRF is racing to find a cure for tomorrow while striving to improve the lives of those with type 1 diabetes today. We have studies being funded focusing on beta cell regeneration, research, screening individuals at risk of type 1 diabetes, vaccines that might prevent the disease, and underway a system called Open Protocol, taking the closed loop system one step further. JDRF is also working to improve the odds for expectant mothers with their closed loop system research. Some of this research is here in Columbus, Ohio at OSU. I was on shots nearly the whole time I was pregnant with my second, Tegan. We didn't do the best family planning. And pregnancy means fluctuating hormones. Fluctuating hormones mean fluctuating insulin needs. And there were days I would take up to 17 shots. Not finger pricks, shots. Can you fathom what it's like to fear you're hurting your baby because your insulin isn't working nor absorbing like you predicted? Type 1's scary. But when we come together, we make it a little less lonely. We persevere and we build hope. We have events like tonight. My family and I are grateful for all of you being here, and I'm going to be bold as I am with insulin, and ask each of you to do all you can to help us make a difference. Your generosity and support this evening will 100% go to the JDRF mission. Tonight, please help build the hope for all of us that we need. Fund the research that can resolve some of the hardships and the mental burden this chronic disease carries, and break a record on the generosity a room in Central Ohio can create. Thank you.